Let's see. Hey, thanks for coming in. Love and appreciate you. How's your head? Hey, Eli, how's it going, buddy? Thanks for coming in, man. Love and appreciate you. How's your head, brother? See, hey, Ray, you made it in. Ray, we are finishing up. We are finishing up Callahan's tonight. And it's only like, let's see, 159, 169 I just seen. So 10 and a half pages. But I'm going to read the prologue to the new book that I'm reading next. Get my hand out of the way. And it is Lamb. The Gospel According to Biff, Christ's childhood pal. So that should be interesting. The prologue is pretty funny. I've read the prologue and a couple pages in to chapter 1, and it's pretty good. So it should be an interesting read. And Ray, I am moving nights. We're going to go to Thursday nights, 10 p.m. after today with Monty Python. Yeah, oh yeah, that's one of the absolutely. It's just from his writing in the prologue in the first chapter it's pretty good. Where did I see it here? Reminiscent of Vonnegut and Douglas Adams. And that was a Philadelphia Inquirer. So yeah, so it'll be a new book. I'll start it a week from tomorrow, but I'll do the prologue tonight. So give you just a little bit of a taste of it, and it's a pretty good one. But tonight we are going to do the final 10 pages of Callahan's Crosstime Saloon, and then it'll be done. Emil, how are you, my friend? Love and appreciate you. Thanks for coming in. How's your head? Yes, Douglas Adams is God. You should have been here for the reading of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is what I'm finishing up tonight, Emil. But that's 10 pages. And then I am going to read the prologue to this. This is the next book that I'll be reading live. And I don't know if you've heard of it, Emil, but you'll enjoy it, I think. It comes highly recommended by Last Druid and Dude. So I think it, and what I've read of it so far, it's looking pretty good. So what's our time? I got rid of the whatchamacallit there. Oh, it's 10:03. It's right there in front of me. Right there on my computer screen. Yeah, it is pretty interesting, Emil. Have you ever heard of Callahan's Crosstime Saloons? Saloon series written by Spider Robinson. It's been different. Another one recommended by Dude. And it's been fairly decent to read. But it was different than the writings of Douglas Adams of the Hitchhiker's Guide. So this is a different take, and then this is sort of. He's got other books that seem. I'm intrigued. Author of Fluke, or I Know Why the Winged Whale Sings. Yes, I was. I absolutely was, Emil. What is today? Today is Wednesday. How have rehearsals been going, buddy? Or have you been to them yet? Um, yes. So, and then the current book I am reading on Little Blue Books, and if you're new and you here and you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do that. Please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You don't have to watch my videos, but the subscription, the sub helps. But hopefully I can be doing a third video for Little Blue Book number 51. You can see the cover is just fucking falling apart. Giordano Bruno. I'd like to get third video up for that. Oh, good. They're going okay. Excellent. Well, if you figured out that you need a sound guy, I'm your man. I am looking forward to seeing the play. So I am. It should be interesting. And tonight's buzz brought to you by Lemon Marciano. Lemon Maraschino. I put an H where there wasn't one. Lemon Maraschino. See, I've got a bad tooth, and it's affecting my speech pattern. But it has a THCA of 41.246%. Don't shoot me. I am just a messenger. Yes, it is ouch email. It is not nearly as bad as it was yesterday and last night. Yesterday, the day before was the kick-in day. Yesterday was the full-blown day and night. And now today is the subsidence day, where it is subsiding. It's a tooth that is loose on this side of my face. And that is about the only thing wrong with the damn tooth. It has worked loose. And it's got to come out anyhow. It's one of the ones that I was supposed to have taken out, Emil. As you know. But it's going back into, not ouchy. It is subsiding. It still doesn't like to be touched by the tooth under it. Or beneath it, because it's a top tooth. But it's getting back to where it should be fine. 10:07. All right, guys. I'm going to get started. And let's see here. I'll go back a paragraph. So, here we go. There is nothing I can do, he said at last, his voice hollow and bleak. Then there is no absolution for you, Callahan said flatly. Here or anywhere. Get out of my joint and don't come back. Raksha's face fell, and for a timeless moment, I thought he was going to cry. Or whatever Krundia do that's like crying. But he got a hold of himself, nodded once, rose and left the bar, shouldering party people aside as he went. There was another silence when he had gone, and we all looked at Callahan. His jaw was set, and his eyes flashed, challenging us to criticize his judgment. Weren't you a little harsh on the guy, Mike? Doc Webster asked after a while. Hell, Doc, Callahan exploded. That clown was Adolf Hitler. You want me to pat him on the head and say it's all right? You were only following orders? Christ on a mini bike. If it wasn't for him and his kind, I might not have to run this goddamn bar. And my bunions give me the dickens. I grieve for him, Finn said tonelessly. I too was once in a similar position. Save your grief, Finn, Callahan spat. You had the same choice, but you followed through. And you weren't gutless. You were counter-programmed. If you could figure out a way around the sheer physical limitations of your machinery, there goes that tooth. Why the hell couldn't he overcome his conditioning? Conditioning isn't an excuse for Kundia any more than for humans. It's an explanation. Thanks to you and the work you're doing, the Gas Peninsula may be prosperous farmland someday. You're still paying your dues, but that guy didn't want to atone, just apologize. He and his kind made this sorry old world what it is today, and maybe I could forgive that. But I don't give absolution free. It cost you right in the old willpower, and he wasn't willing to ante up. Fuck him and the horse he rode in on. I still think we should have jollied him along and tried to pump him, Mike, Tony said insistently. How are we going to find him to stop them now? Callahan looked tired. As Finn started to say before I tromped on his toes, that ain't necessary. Now, Finn knows they're here. He can find them. He can find them for us as easily as you could spot a wolf in a chicken coop. That wasn't a problem. There came a shattering roar from outside. The building rocked. Glass sprayed inward from the windows and bottles danced behind the bar. Everyone began to shout at once, and most of the boys made a beeline for the door. Only Callahan, of all of us, failed to jump. Like I said, no guts, he said softly. He rose quietly, walked through the suddenly overcrowded bar, the chalk line being the fireplace, picking up someone's drink as he went. He looked surreally absurd in that damned bear suit he still had on. Balding red head sticking out the top like a partially digested meal. He stood gazing into the flames for a moment, gulped the raw liquor, and spoke in a clear, resonant baritone. To cowardice, he said. Oh, that's the toast. To cowardice, he said, and flung the empty glass against the back wall of the fireplace with a savageness I had never seen in him before. Fast Eddie stuck his head in the door. Jesus Christ, boss! The whole unprintable parking lot blew up. I know, Eddie, Callahan said gently. Thanks. Anybody hurt? Eddie scratched his head. I don't think so. He allowed, but there's a lot of dead cars. Least of my worries, Callahan assured him. Call the cops, will you? Tell them whatever you like. Eddie got busy on the phone. Callahan came back to our table, stood over Finn. Well, buddy, what do you say? Can you take him? Finn looked up at him for a while, figuring some things. The blast was powerful, Michael. They must have strong defenses. That's why I stepped on your toes and let that joker go, Mickey. If you two tangled in here, we'd have lost a lot more in a few cars. We can't gas anyway. But you heard what he said about violence. They abhor it. Finn agreed. Even if they will employ it in self-defense, they are unused to it, Michael. I can take them. I will. He rose and left the bar. Thanks, Mickey. Callahan called after him. I reckon your dues are paid in full. There's been a lot of noise in the papers lately about the series of seismic shocks that have been recorded over the past few weeks in the unlikeliest of places. An unprecedented mini-quake every day or two for 3 weeks, culminating in a blockbuster where no quake had a right to be, is bound to cause talk. The seismologists confess themselves baffled. Some note that none of the quakes took place in a densely populated area and are reassured. Some note the uniquely powerful, though strictly local intensity of the shocks and are perturbed. Some note the utter inability of their science to explain the quakes even after the fact. and fear the end of the world is at hand. But me and some of the boys at Callahan's place suspect it's more like the beginning. That was in chapter 8, kids. Chapter 9, hydrate. Alright, chapter 9. I used to think that almost anything could happen at Callahan's place. It wasn't long before I realized the truth. That anything can happen at Callahan's place. And not long after that, it was made clear to me that anything can happen at Callahan's. But I confess, I was still surprised tonight I learned that anything can happen at Callahan's place. And that, sooner or later, it probably will. It was New Year's Eve, a natural time for introspection, I guess. The place was virtually empty, for the first time in a long time. Now that might strike you as a downright implausible. But it's just another one of the inexplicable eccentricities of Callahan's that stop startling you after you've been hanging out there for a while. You see, the kind of guys that come in there regularly, if they've got families, tend to spend holidays with them at home. It's that kind of crowd. There are, of course, a handful who don't have families and aren't willing to settle for the surrogate of a date. So, Callahan stays open on holidays. But I'm sure he runs a net loss. This particular New Year's Eve, the entire congregation consisted of me, him, Fast Eddie, the Doc, and Long Drink McGongle. Funny. You take men who already consider themselves deep and true friends. They've been drinking together regularly for many years, have experienced some memorable moments at each other's company, have given each other an awful lot, and yet somehow, on a night when there's just a few of them there. Oh, yeah, there's a comma there. There's just a few of them. It doesn't make sense there because they have no other place to be. Such men can find an even deeper level of sharing, can, perhaps, truly become brothers. At such times they relax the shoulders of their souls and turn their collective attention to those profound questions that can overawe a man alone. They bring out their utterly true selves. We shared a rich plane of awareness that night. Callahan behind the bar and the rest of us sitting together in front of it, lost in the glow of that special kind of intimacy that drink and good company bring. Looking back over the year gone by and talking of nothing in general and everything in particular, what we were doing, we were telling dumb puns. It started when Callahan taped over the cash box a hand-lettered sign that read, "The buck stops here." "Oh boy," rumbled the Doc. "I can see there'll be no quarter given tonight." Which is a pun because he chucked his glass into the fireplace as he said it, which means the cigar box at the end of the bar held at least 2 quarters that he wouldn't be given tonight. Long Drink got up and walked to the chalk line, and I assumed he wanted to give Doc Stinker the honor of a formal throw. I should have known he was setting us up. He toed the mark, announced, "To the poor corpuscle," drained his glass and waited. The Doc had reflexively drained the fresh glass Callahan had already supplied unasked. Doc will drink to anything, sight unseen. But he paused with his arm in mid-throw. "Wait a minute," he said. "Why the hell should I drink to the poor corpuscle?" "He labors in vain," Long Drink said simply. "Ah, yes," I said without missing a beat. "But he vessels, while he works. Plasma soul," exclaimed Callahan. The doc's eyes got round and his jaw hung down. By God, he said at last, I've never been outpunned by you roomies yet, and I'm not about to go down on medical puns. As a doctor, I happen to know for certain there's only one other blood pun. I got it straight from the Oracle of Delphi. There was an extended pause, and I was saying to myself, yep, as usual, no one can top the doc, when all of a sudden Fast Eddie spoke up. Now you have to understand that while he's a genius on the piano, lightning wit has never been Eddie's strong suit. I don't think I've ever heard him attempt a pun in the presence of so many masters. Hey, dude, how's it going, brother? But he, by God, opened his mouth and said with the nearest thing to a straight face he owns, well, I don't know about you guys, but need me a drink. And even then, he was not done, because while the doc spluttered and the rest of us roared, Callahan quietly went into the gag that, unknown to us, Eddie had worked out with him before the rest of us arrived. Instead of Eddie's usual shot, the barkeep mixed him a drink and served it with a wooden chopstick jutting out of the glass. What the hell kind of a drink is that? Doc Webster demanded grumpily, and Eddie delivered it magnificently. A hickory daiquiri, Doc. And the laughter of the mere three of us nearly blew out the windows. The Doc was a good sport about it. In fact, he laughed so hard at himself that he lost 3 shirt buttons. But you could tell he was severely shaken. He paid for the next round. I felt as though I'd just seen a bulldozer to a tap dance myself. The world is full of surprises, I told myself. Callahan put it even more succinctly. It's a miracle, he whooped, setting up fresh glasses. A genuine damn miracle. Long Drink snorted. Miracles are a dime a dozen in this joint. You know, drink, I said suddenly. You said a mouthful. Huh? Miracles. That's Mike's stock and trade. This is a place where nothing is impossible. Horse feathers, Callahan said. No, I'm serious, Mike. I can think of half a dozen things that have happened in here in the past year that I wouldn't have believed for a minute if they'd happened anywhere else. Well, that's true, and that's sure true enough, the doc said thoughtfully. Little green men, 2 time travelers, Adolf Hitler. That's not exactly what I mean, Doc, I interrupted. Those things are highly improbable. But if they could happen here, they could happen anywhere. What I mean is that, barring Raksha, every one of those jokers that walked in crying, walked out smiling. And even he could have, if he'd been willing to pay the freight. By me, that's a miracle. I don't get you, said Eddie, wrinkling up his face. Even more, I mean. Take that business of Jim and Paul McDonald. Near as I can see, they represent the basic miracle of Callahan's place. The greatest lesson this joint has taught us. What's that? That there's nothing in the human heart or mind, no place, no matter how twisted or secret, that can't be endured. If you have someone to share it with. That's what this place is all about. Helping people to open up whatever cabinets in their heads hold their most dangerous secrets and let them out. If you've got a hurt, and I've got a hurt, and we share them, some crazy how or other, we each end up with less than half a hurt apiece. I took a sip of Bushmills. That's what Callahan's place has to offer. And as far as I know, there's no place like it in all the world. I know one place kind of like it, Long Drink said suddenly. What? Where? Oh, I don't know that you'd spot the resemblance right off. I sure didn't. But did any of you guys ever hear of the farm? I was raised on one, the doc said. We know, in the barn, Long Drink said dryly. I ain't talking about a farm, I mean the farm. Place down in Tennessee. Better than 800 people living on a couple of thousand acres. One of them's my daughter, Annie, and I went down to visit her last month. One of them communes? The doc asked skeptically. Not like I ever heard of, Long Drink told him. They ain't got no house brand of religion, for one thing. Annie still goes to Mass on Sundays. For another thing, them folks work. They feed themselves, and they build their own houses, and they take care of business. The heaviest drug I saw down there was pot. And they wasn't using that for recreation. Said it was a sacrament. Tennessee, I said, and whistled. They must get a hard time from the locals. Not on your tintype. The locals love 'em. I spoke with the Lewis County Sheriff, and he said if everybody was as decent and truthful and hard-working as the farm folk, he'd be out of a job. I tell you, I went down there loaded for bear, ready to argue Annie into giving up her foolishness and coming on home. Instead, I almost forgot to leave. So, what's all that got to do with this joint? Callahan asked. Well, it's like Jake was saying about sharing, Mike. Them folks share everything they got, and the only rule I noticed was that a body that was hurting some way was everybody's number one priority. He paused, looked thoughtful, they care about each other. 800 people, and they care about each other's. And the whole damn world, too. That kind of thing's been out of style since flower power wilted. Ah, nuts, the doc exclaimed. Another one of them fool nut cults is what it sounds like to me. They never last. I don't know, Long Drink disagreed. They've been going for about 5 years now, and they just started setting up colonies like satellite farms, they call them. Better than half a dozen all over the country. He paused, looking thoughtful. What got me, though, was how little attention they paid to their physical growth. They just seemed to happen by it. It just seemed to happen by itself, while they put their real attention on the main game, getting straight with each other, so they could live together. Seems to me like the whole world ought to be doing that. Seems like if you be a better person, you have a better life. Seemed to me like the farm was Callahan's place for hippies. You're crazy, the doc burst out. Sure, there's 1,000 ham-headed gurus creeping out from under every burning bush these days. The old-time religion went into the drink, so they're scratching for a new one like hungry hens, going in for mysticism and the occult and astrology, and the late God only knows what all. But I'm damned if I see the resemblance between a Jesus freak revival meeting and this here bar. Doc, I said softly. Slow down a bit. Yes, they're mass-producing religions like popcorn these days, and some of them are as plain silly as the 16-year-old perfect Goomba with his divine Maserati and his sacred ulcer. But that don't make him all crazy. Point is, I can't turn the page. Point is that all of them conmen must be filling some kind of powerful need, or they'd be working some more profitable grift. And I think I agree with Long Drink. The need they're filling is the same one that brings folks to Callahan's place. Huh, the doc snorted. And what need is that, pray tell? It's pretty easy to see. For the last century or two, we turned our attention to the physical world, to mastering the material plane at the expense of anything else. A lot of that, I'm compelled to believe, had to do with Raksha and his kind. But the tendency was there to exploit. And so, we've got a world in which physical miracles are commonplace and nobody's happy. We got what it takes to feed the whole 3 billion of us, and half of us are starving. You can show a dozen guys murdering each other on TV, but you can't ever show two people making love. A naked blade is reckoned to be less obscene than a naked woman. Ain't it about time we started trying to get a handle on love from any and all directions? I don't know how come this farm doesn't collapse like all the other communes. I don't know how come a government with the best propaganda machine ever built failed to sell a war to a country for the first time in history. I don't know how come 3 or 4 guys managed to pull down a corrupt thug of a president. I don't even understand how come all the things this here bar stands for haven't been drowned under a sea of the drunks and brawlers and hookers and hoodlums every other bar gets. Why, the only people that seem to come here are the ones that need to, that ought to, that have to. That's the real miracle of this joint. You know, not our telepaths and little green men. I can't explain any of this stuff, Doc, but couldn't it be that there's some kind of new force loose on the world, like a collective unconscious response to Raksha and the Krundia? A new kind of energy that's trying to put us all back on the right track before it's too late. Couldn't it be that? Now, we've climbed out of a material plane limb and started sawing at it. Okay. Some mysterious force is trying to teach us how to fly. Whether it's our own stupidity or Krundia manipulation, we've stumbled across things that make a cobalt bomb look harmless. The human race is an idiot child in an arsenal. Couldn't it possibly be that under all these pressures, we're beginning to grow up? That's what I loined from Rachel, Fast Eddie spoke up suddenly, startling me. I was so wrapped up in my own eloquence, I'd even forgotten my customary drawl and folksy speech patterns. What do you mean, Eddie? Callahan asked. Everybody's got roots in the past, Eddie explained. But they's got roots in the future, too. There was an odd silence. I'll be damned, Callahan said after a while. That's twice in one night you've surprised me, Eddie. I never thought there was anything but music in that head of yours. Guess even if I can learn something in this joint. He shook his head and poured himself another shot. Long Drink tried to lighten the mood some. I'll teach you something, Mike. What do you get when you put milk of magnesia in a glass of vodka? The doc made a face. Everybody knows that one. A Phillips screwdriver. The hell with that stuff. I want to hear more about this collective unconscious jazz. Long Drink grinned. Sounds like this place to a T. Can it? I said. That mysterious force stuff you were talking about, Jake. Do you mean that literally? I thought about it. You mean like a gang of 6-column missionaries, Doc? A bunch of guys working undercover like Raksha and his friends, only in reverse? Now, I don't really think that's the way of it. Oops! Reaching for my glass without looking, I knocked it over. Come on. Last page. Yeah, I knocked it skittering across the bar and leaped to grab it before it could fall into Callahan's lap. I froze for a moment, leaning half over the bar. But I've always rather prided myself in being quick on the uptake. On the other hand, I continued calmly, maybe that's exactly right. Who knows? And Callahan, who was still sitting as I'd seen him, his legs folded under him in the full lotus, suspended a good 3 feet off the floor, winked, poured my glass brimful of Bushmills, and grinned. Not me, he lied, and puffed on his cigar. Hey, yous guys, cried Eddie, eyes on the clock above us. Happy New Year. That's the end. Callahan's Crosstime Saloon. Written by Spider Robinson, author of Mind Killer. So that is Callahan's is done. This is the next book coming up. Let me get my hand out of the way. Written by Christopher Moore, called Lamb. All right. Let me hydrate. And let me medicate. And this is called Lamb, a novel, The Gospel According to Biff, Christ's childhood friend. And this is from Dude. Correct, Dude? All right. Here's about the author. Christopher Moore is the author of 7 novels, including this one. He began writing at age 6 and became the oldest known child prodigy when, in his early 30s, he published his first novel. His turn-ons are the ocean, playing the Toad Lotto, and talking animals on TV. His turn-offs are salmonella, traffic, and rude people. Chris enjoys cheese crackers, acid jazz, and otter scrubbing. He lives in the inescapable island fortress in the Pacific, and you can email him. There you go. Had a bunch of them that hand out of a few elections. Nice. Yes, good choices, dude. Very good choices. So, okay, also by Christopher Moore. Here's other books by him. Pardon me. Practical Demon Keeping, Coyote Blue, Blood-Sucking Fiends, Island of the Sequined Love Nun, The Lust Lizard of Melancholy Grove, and Fluke, or I Know Why the Winged Whale Sings. I love that. Okay. Author's Blessing. If you have come to these pages for laughter, may you find it. If you are here to be offended, may your ire rise and your blood boil. If you seek an adventure, may this story sing you away to blissful escape. If you need to test or confirm your beliefs, may you reach comfortable conclusions. All books reveal perfection by what they are or by what they are not. May you find that which you seek in these pages or outside them. May you find perfection and know it by name. What's faith, dude? You want to... Okay. Okay. Oh, Eli gave me lamb? Okay. Excellent choice, Eli. So far, I'm in love with it. All right, here we go. I'm going to do the prologue tonight. And then next Thursday, we're switching this to Thursday nights. Next Thursday, 10 p.m. And then we'll just go from Thursdays. Okay. Here we go. Prologue. The angel was cleaning out his closet when the call came. Halos and moonbeams were sorted into piles according to brightness. Satchels of wrath and scabbards of lightning hung on hooks waiting to be dusted. A wineskin of glory had leaked in the corner, and the angel blotted it with a wad of fabric. Each time he turned a cloth, a muted chorus rang from the closet, as if he'd clamped the lid down on a pickle jar full of hallelujah chorus. Raziel, what in heaven's name are you doing? The archangel Stephen was standing over him, brandishing a scroll like a rolled-up magazine over a peddling puppy. Orders? The angel asked. Dirtside. I was just there. 2 millennia ago. Really? Raziel checked his watch, then tapped the crystal. Are you sure? What do you think? Stefan held out the scroll as so Raziel could see the burning bush seal. When do I leave? When do I leave? I was almost finished here. Now, pack the gift of tongues and some minor miracles. No weapons. It's not a wrath job. You'll be undercover. Very low profile, but important. It's all in the orders. Stefan handed him the scroll. Why me? I asked that too. And? I was reminded why angels are cast out. Ooh, that big, huh? Stephen coughed, clearly an affectation since angels didn't breathe. I'm not sure I'm supposed to know, but the rumor is that it's a new book. You're kidding. A sequel? Revelation 2? Just when you thought it was safe to sin. It's a gospel. A gospel? After all this time? Who? Levi, who was called Biff. Raziel dropped his rag and stood. This has to be a mistake. It comes directly from the sun. There's a reason Biff isn't mentioned in the other books, you know. He's a total... Don't say it. But he's such an asshole. You talk like that and you wonder why you get dirt duty. Why now, after so long? The 4 Gospels have been fine so far. And why him? Because it's some kind of anniversary and dirt dweller time of the son's birth. And he feels it's time the whole story is told. Raziel hung his head. I'd better pack. Gift of tongues, Stefan reminded. Of course. So I can take crap in 1,000 languages. Go get the good news, Raziel. Bring me back some chocolate. Chocolate? It's a dirt dweller snack. You'll like it. Satan invented it. Devil's food? You can only eat so much white cake, my friend. Midnight, the angel stood on a barren hillside on the outskirts of the holy city of Jerusalem. He raised his arms aloft, and dry wind whipped his white robe around him. Arise, Levi, who is called Biff. A whirlwind formed before him, pulling dust from the hillside into a column that took the shape of a man. Arise, Biff, your time has come. The wind whipped into a fury, and the angel pulled the sleeve of his robe across his face. Arise, Biff, and walk again among the living. The whirlwind began to subside, leaving the man-shaped column of dust standing on the hillside. In a moment, the hillside was calm again. The angel pulled a gold vessel from his satchel and poured it over the column. The dust washed away, leaving a muddy, naked man sputtering in the starlight. Welcome back to the living, the angel said. The man blinked, then held his hand before his eyes as if he expected to see through it. I'm alive? He said in a language he had never heard before. Yes, the angel said. What are these sounds, these words? I have given you the gift of tongues. I've always had the gift of tongues. Ask any girl I know. What are these words? Languages. You've been given the gift of languages, as were all the apostles. Then the kingdom has come? Yes. How long? 2,000 years ago. You worthless bag of dog shit, said Levi, who was called Biff, as he punched the angel in the mouth. You're late. The angel picked himself up and gingerly touched his lip. Nice talk to a messenger of the Lord. It's a gift, said Biff. This is going to be good. All right, that's a prologue. That's all you get. Tune in next Thursday and every Thursday following at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That tooth is still it's making me lisp. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll read to you from Lamb, a novel. They could ask Peapods, Joy, and the Girls. The full series to its fire. The Fruit Basket. Ay, 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 fellas. Yeah, this is going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to reading this one. I've read the first like 3 or 4 pages while I was sitting there leafing through it, and yeah, I like it. That prologue is pretty funny. That in itself is a good teller. But yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna jump off here. Thanks for listening. You'll get hose references as it goes on. Nice. I love it. All right, guys, I'm jumping off. I'm gonna go nurse my tooth. Oh my God. And I'm getting yawny. All right, if you're new to me, once more, please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And I don't think I'll be putting out a video anymore tonight. I'm going to wait till this tooth stops bothering me so much. Maybe tomorrow or the next day, then I'll add the finishing videos for Giordano Bruno. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next Thursday night. Not tomorrow. A week from tomorrow. So I'll see you a week from tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here. And we'll start Lamb. The Gospel According to Biff, Christ's childhood pal. All right. Peace out, guys.